from the office one day,
Yeah.
and they came back and they are a little bit tighter than what they were when they left the office, I think is the right way to put it. Mine's still, like, I squeezed my way into this one because I
Yours
wanted to
is
wear the
livable,
pineapples.
at least.
Yeah, Rusty's one,
I couldn't button it
I
up.
also thought was livable, to be fair.
Well,
But
Rusty's
Zach
one was
disagreed.
borderline pornographic. It was, I mean, there was nothing left to the imagination. Unfortunately,
matching.
needed to do that. That's fine, though. Did anyone get just absolute vicious food poisoning this weekend, or are we past that now?
I don't know. I think Bryce is at the caster desk, so he seems to be okay for now.
I'm
with
chilling.
The amount of talking he was doing during your TFT game, he seems to be in perfect spirits.
So we come here. Our call time, for those of you not in the industry, is when we're supposed to turn up before the broadcast. I'd say it's roughly 8 to 9 hours before we go to air. So we have a lot of time to kill at the top of the show. So we were playing some TFT upstairs. I was like, oh yeah, Rusty, well, actually, no. I never actually asked for his help, but he sat down and started helping me. And then I was like, this is actually incredibly helpful. Please stay. And then towards the end of the game, he was getting very invested. And then just stopped being a human and started just being like the Matrix mathematics, just weaving through the room. And he was just sitting there going, because we were going down like fishing for, I think, a third pike upgrade or something. He's like, sell, reroll, sell, buy, sell, reroll, sell, upgrade, sell. And it was terrifying.
Yeah, the thing is, like, Nick hasn't yet learnt to use hotkeys. I made him bind them.
I know how to use hotkeys.
No.
I choose
so
not to
you
hotkey.
selling and re-rolling was
Yeah.
a point and click, which took too much time, and it was last round bloody crunch time, and we needed to get that tier 3 pike. It was necessary.
It was
a good
super
game.
impressive to watch. I was saying to you guys before, I spend all my weekends surrounded by pro gamers, like the best at what they do in this country, and I'm like, oh well, I'm not actually very good at this stuff. So it can feel a little intimidating when you start throwing all the maths, but then also sometimes it's just impressive to sit back and watch.
Bryce is very good at the number crunching, and yesterday when it was mentioned, I think it was you that said he's a spreadsheet type of player.
Yeah.
Yes.
Got a bit of insight into that now.
I should have listened to you, though, about that final choice, because I think that's what killed me. All right, we have a full day of League of Legends action. It's not just TFT talk. So let's take a look at the schedule of the games. Coming up for you this evening, game number 1, Mammoth versus Avant.
Banger.
Oh, that is a big banger.
Should be.
Game 2, Chiefs versus Order. Also,
No one really cares about that.
no one cares about that?
Should be a banger.
Should be a banger. Direwolves take on the Bombers.
Banger.
Which is also a banger. And then Gravitas versus Legacy.
Biggest
Banger.
banger of the night.
This is a stacked. This is Rusty in a too tight a t-shirt kind of night. This is an exciting time to be alive as a League of Legends fan.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that this is going to be a very telling game because I keep saying it, but this is kind of normalized League of Legends for the first half of the season. And I think that anything could happen next week. So getting these wins right now, especially given how close everyone is playing on the ladder today, is going to be really crucial.
And it comes at an interesting time where, yesterday every single coach that we interviewed said they know their style now. Like everyone has cemented what they are as a team and how they want to play. And what everyone is currently working on is the execution. So today is going to be an interesting tell into how far into the execution are these teams actually going.
Absolutely. And it is all culminating, as we keep reminding you, at the Melbourne Esports Open at the end of this split. Please come along because it is going to be a weekend you won't soon forget. Head to melbourneesportsopen.com.au/tickets to get yours. There is a stack of stuff going on that weekend, all kinds of games. Obviously, League of Legends, the most important there. It was so much fun last year. I cannot wait for this one again.
We're taking the couch. I got told that the couch can't be on stage, so I think that we're going to suspend the couch
Ooh.
somehow
We'll have a
above
hover
the
couch.
stage
Cirque du Soleil's couch.
in line with the screen. That's what I'm getting word in my ear of right now. I think we're committing to that. So we're going to have a suspended couch.
Can confirm is what I just heard. I did talk to the production team earlier in the week and say, Jake and I, like, our mouths are writing a lot of checks that maybe the League of Legends body cannot cash when it comes to this MEO final. And then, so instead of veering away from that, today, at some point during the broadcast, we're going to have a little brainstorm about ideas that we could have at MEO for the couch segment, which you and I will be on. And also, we want your guys' suggestions as well. What do you want to see as a couch segment at MEO? The best suggestion, and it can be either something that has happened on the show before or a new thing.
Please new.
Please new. We know all the stuff we've done.
Yeah.
What do you guys want to see from the couch at the MEO Grand Final? The winner, if we pick a really good one, gets a HyperX headset.
Ball pit. I want a ball pit.
On the suspended couch?
Because like I was watching Jasper the other day and he went to a party.
Oh, yeah.
And he got really sick from it, so we're sterilizing the balls before.
Definitely.
But
New balls.
like just seeing people or kids just dive into ball pits.
So much fun.
It looks so much fun. I think that instead of having a grandstand, we just fill the
have a
whole
ball
venue
pit.
with balls.
And so the audience is sitting in the balls?
Absolutely.
Can I tweak this? The audience are the balls. And everyone
Ooh.
rolls up and we just dive into
There's
them.
And we
big
dive into
zorbs.
them.
Oh! Do we have the budget? I'm hearing yes. That's very exciting. Oh my goodness. So please start sending in your suggestions to @OPL on Twitter or send them directly to me @NickBoy on Twitter and we'll go through some of those. And finally, before we get into game number 1, speaking of HyperX headsets, a reminder that we are running a budget cosplay competition next week. We want to see your most budget League of Legends champ cosplay. Last year, wild success. Very excited to be doing it again this year. So that's going to be on Saturday. Send in your pictures before then. All right, game number 1, Mammoth versus Avant. How are the boys feeling?
I mean, obviously it's not fun to lose to Order. They're a team that are just as creative as us, so the type of game that it's not a standard loss, so it doesn't feel as good. But coming into today, Mammoth is a big game. We've always done well against Mammoth, so the mood in the camp is still pretty positive.
And
Yeah.
Jake, Mammoth are on a high at the moment.
I was going to say, I ran into Chippies in the corridor and he was still laughing, right? So he was like, I'm going to smack him around. So they're seeming pretty confident to me. But Mammoth as a lineup are one of those strange teams where it just seems like everyone gets to play pretty standard and then they're trying to beat you through teamwork, which I really like to see out of teams. I'm a big believer in that style of League of Legends. So I'm looking for Avant to kind of try and split the map, try and play a little bit of 1-3-1, maybe a strong 1-4 comp. And I think that they're, as I keep saying, they're one of the best teams at doing it. And that's why I think it is a struggle for Mammoth to kind of match up against this team. Mammoth, when they're all 5 players on the same screen, really, really good. You have to look at Triples Vladimir for that exact reason.
Absolutely.
And then I think that their Avant lineup's going to try and go early and try and pull them apart across the map. Should be a really fun, conflicting styles.
All right, well, let's not wait any longer. Let's jump into game number 1, Pulse and Ejim and the Macca's Champ Select.
Great.
Thank you, Nick Boy. Are you going to do any cosplay for next week?
Are we doing physical cosplay? That's
don't know, are we?
That's what you're... Well,
I mean,
I guess
we
you
could, I
went
guess.
around for the last budget
As-
cosplay, and you've heard
But I
the
should
ominous
just said as opposed to mental cosplay, which good
toss
point.
around of the old nips that happened on our Twitch stream.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just woohoo. Nah, we could get around a cosplay.
Could you do any just by existing, right? Are
The-
there any dad champions in League of Legends? Mr. Trivia Goblin. Because I feel like between the
Trivia
two of
Goblin.
us... Yeah, yeah.
Not me. Not me.
Cassidon's a dad.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay, Rise
Right?
looks like a dad. I feel like
Rise
I could...
looks like a dad.
Yeah, he's got like,
He's blue.
I don't know, he's kind of like older and has facial
You're
hair.
blue.
That's what dads look like.
Isn't Kaisa Cassidon's daughter? Isn't that a thing?
I don't know. You called me the trivia guy, but I just know literally nothing about League of Legends lore.
Right.
So,
right.
yeah, like...
But you know like a lot to do with like the
I mean,
game,
I know the
not in like
game,
an
yeah.
analytical sense,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
like
yeah.
if I asked you what a champion's ability was, you'd probably be able to tell me.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you where the name came from or what faction. That was actually...
What faction?
Yeah,
okay.
the Riot Games office here in Oceania, here in Sydney. They got all the decals of all the factions across the
Yeah.
glass. And I really struggled to go along and pick all of them. I could pick like easy ones, Freljord and I think Shurima, like
Yes,
the
those are
desert ones.
places.
Yeah, and then I couldn't
Piltover,
get...
Zorn,
No, like those two,
Bilgewater,
way too hard to pick.
Demacia
Way too
Noxus.
similar.
I think at one point it was the Great Barrier. I don't know if that exists anymore.
The Great Barrier.
Yeah, it was to do with Rammus's backstory.
Okay.
That's a champion I haven't seen in a while.
Saw him in the OCS last week.
How did it do? Did it win?
Got absolutely boomed,
Oh.
so we can
probably
move
why.
on from that one. Yeah, but this game, they kind of hedged on it on the couch, but setting it up what we talked about at the back end of yesterday. Now, given that AV lost and Mammoth won, they were coming into the week on even footing, but you can see 9-2, 7-4. Mammoth have that 2-point lead right now. AV, though, still do have the head-to-head. You saw in the quick little video before the game started, before the stream opened, that it was Miru's absolutely pop-off Olaf game that got them the first upset win over Mammoth earlier in the season. So the man on your screen right now could do it last time. Can he turn this ship around and kind of equalize the standings here?
Definitely the goal, yeah. Avant losing the game yesterday. Funnily enough, the Zillion actually came back to bite them into that Silas comp, but...
Yeah. I also got some cheeky insight from Spooks about that game. And in the top gank, the 2 versus 2, where he Silas ulties, takes Camille and went to use it, Chippy's playing Camille, dodged the Silas ult, like because the chain gets thrown out,
Yeah.
with his ulti. right? So he just had no ultimate for the fight, and then all of a sudden Miru walks up with Sejuani, just booms
That's
them.
crazy.
Yeah, and turned around the 2 versus 2, so... Yeah, I didn't pick that up on the broadcast, but hearing about it after the fact, I'm like, that's why it was so one-sided.
Yeah.
They walk into top lane, have the advantage, and just get smacked. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, things you didn't really think about, but make a huge difference. We've got that Cho'Gath, first pick into Ezreal. And we've also had a first pick of Mammoth picking Vladimir.
So Jake mentioned the Vladimir for triple on the couch just before we trotted on over, but the Cho'Gath certainly is interesting. Is it an answer to something like the Vladimir, you know what I mean? Like you can get him fairly low and then just hit him with a chomp? Is it just a straight blind pick?
It feels like a response to Vladimir, right?
We'll be left
like silence
to know.
into chomp is like a big deal. It's the reason why Urgot suddenly became a thing when it first came into competitive, because they were playing it into Vladimir. It was like, we just execute him before he gets his health back and press R. Cho'Gath is the same theory, but it's interesting to see that as like an immediate response.
Yeah.
It almost feels like premeditated, you know?
Well, they have red side, right, coming into this one, so they can always match where the Vladimir will go. Mammoth have to show that before AV go for their last pick, which does speak to me. They've already now locked in an interesting bottom lane. We'll get to that, but it is going to be a 4th pick for Miro in the jungle, and they kind of have to hold on to their last solo lane to kind of juggle that one around. Bottom lanes are interesting already, right? Yuumi locked in, Yuumi Sivir, not too special there. You expect TP for the Sivir, and that's just a very standard matchup. But the response, Ezreal Pyke is kind of up in the air somewhat. I guess it makes sense stylistically. You have the singular hook, and Yuumi turns a bottom lane into a singular champion, so you kind of get double value. But it's kind of difficult to make things happen into a Sivir. We had a small conversation about Ezreal and how he gets priority in the lane, but if you lose it versus Sivir, it's very hard to get it back. And roaming sort of champions, the Bard, the Pikes, those sort of guys that want to leave lane and actually just have like a very straightforward way that they attack you, could struggle down here unless they get early jungle attention.
Yeah, there are just like a lot of skills that their bottom lane has to try and bait out the spell shield. Like the theoretical, like Sivir without spell shield just dies, right? Like you could just so much execute power into that bottom lane. Yeah, a lot of jungle bans in the form of Kindred, Sylas, Olaf, and Jarvan. And Avant looking towards solo laners now and jungle.
Yeah, if they lock this one in, they've already got a unique composition. So much execute damage coming out of a Pyke and a Cho'Gath, and then Karthus just to get people low. But given they kind of flick away from that one, is not going to be the dream. Much more standard there in the hands of Miru.
Yeah, double brawler. Got Rek'Sai going into the jungle now.
Get yourself a Kassadin, and that's Void Brawler. That's
It
just
is,
a crappy
yeah.
comp.
That's
Don't play that
great
one.
up until level 2 and it scales off.
Disaster.
Yeah, Mammoth. Back of them looking towards, again, solo lanes and jungle. Same position that Avant were in.
Yep. Is important to note also, haven't mentioned it, but you can see it on your screen. Fudge playing over top Hoon here has received much more of the playtime, and Skarner lock in. So Mammoth have a very cohesive standard team composition that they're putting together, right? This is now the answer. You can see the 2 members that are talking are the solo laners, so it's juggling what matchups can we get away with. The Vladimir and the Cho'Gath, they're thinking about that one. Where do they put it? But the rest of the comp, they've just got straight up team fight. Yuumi opens book, Sivir ulti, Vladimir, there's just tons of AoE, and they have the single target lockdown of that Skarner, so very front to back, very straightforward stuff, as Jake alluded to on the couch here from Mammoth.
I would just say this is the most on-brand composition for Mammoth, right?
It's funny how like it worked out way too well.
Yeah.
The prep for the game is like, yeah, Mammoth got a team fight, can AV pick them apart? Instantly answer with like Cho'Gath, Pyke. If that's a TF, then it's a TF. So, yeah, 2 on brand.
Yeah, from an analytical standpoint, it feels good when you just call an entire game. But Jace is going to be the final pickup here for Avant. Seeing the Aatrox to get locked in. Doesn't have a terrible laning phase into Aatrox. And mid lane is going to be the Cho'Gath into Vladimir. As you said, it kind of got that priority there on just landing the Cho'Gath where you want it to be there from Avant.
Yeah, and we have a couple of the big beefy tank players in the mid lane in the OPL. Get Back has played multiple games of Scion this split. Shock, before Urgot was absolutely busted, was the Urgot guy.
Yep.
Pulled it out of nowhere. So now Cho'Gath, certainly in the wheelhouse, makes a lot of sense. They've also played a bunch of Jace top. Chippies is the most prominent Jace player, gets his hands on that one more often than any other top laner in the league. So despite the composition looking different, it does actually look fairly standard here from AV. Got a lot of stuff that they've played before and just how it matches up into what Mammoth have put together.
Yeah, we'll see how this one works out. I actually never realized how fantastic Vladimir's pants are. Have you ever looked at the bottom
No.
part of Vladimir's splash art?
Yeah, I didn't know he had stripes.
Yeah. I don't think any other champion has stripes in the game, actually.
What about Nutcracker Shaco?
Ooh, well, now we've dived into skins, which just
Yeah.
multiplied the amount that I have to think about
Exponentially,
by
yeah.
potentially 6 times. So, yeah.
I don't know about that one.
I don't know. We have a coach with us.
Hey.
Do you know of any other champion wears striped pants in League of Legends?
Striped pants.
Yeah, like Vladimir.
I can't say I pay enough attention to skins and stuff to know that one.
All right, well, I have a question for you, Fantix.
Yeah.
What rank are you currently in the TFT leaderboards? I saw a tweet the other day, and
Yeah,
I was scrolling through the leaderboards on the train today, but where are you sitting?
Yeah, I was the first person to hit silver.
Okay.
But since then, I have a job and I have to sleep.
Yeah.
Some people are ahead of me right now, but I think I'm like around rank 28 or so.
Oh, okay.
Rank 28.
Still top 50. Feels good.
Yeah.
Okay, certainly. Back to this game of League of Legends, right? As level 1 is going to kick off, but nothing should eventuate from this one. Composition here from AV. Blind pick, answer to Vladimir and the Cho'Gath. Was this something you expected coming into
Oh,
today?
yeah, for sure.
Yeah?
We have a lot of experience playing against in scrims, and it's a calculated risk we took. So definitely not something we're unfamiliar with. We know exactly what it does and what we do against it.
Okay, and are you willing to go a bit more in depth?
Explain.
I mean, like, I've seen it before.
Okay, I'm
First
not
time
going
they're
to
pulling
get
out
too
on
much
stage,
in depth,
but
but
yeah.
in short, I just don't think it's
Like
it's
enough
not,
of a
yeah,
counter?
it's not really
Yeah.
doesn't really stop Vladimir doing what he wants to do, especially if he like itemizes against it, and if you play around it
Okay.
mechanically, you can get around like the way he like if you just don't run into his W.
You should always be able
Yeah,
to pull, and then he can't jump
yeah,
you, and then, like,
yeah.
you don't
Exactly,
have the kill
yeah,
threat?
yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, we've been asking all the coaches this over this weekend because we're now heading into the second half of the split. And just in the Mammoth camp, like, what are your ideas for the second half of the split? What are your goals? Like, are you looking to change anything? A lot of teams are saying that they don't want to change too much, and some are looking to change more.
I'd say our identity has remained. Actually, it has changed quite a bit already, but I think we're like getting to the point where we're solidifying how we want to play as a team. The first couple of weeks were a bit experimental. We did a lot of sonar, a lot more than any team, to very mixed success.
Yeah.
And I think we're getting past that point, and we're solidifying, what kind of picks we want to play.
And where did that sort of come from, right? Because talking to Destiny, listening to his interview with Nick yesterday, I feel like the Mammoth guys coming into this split seem from the outside like drastically different. Like, what happened in the off season? Destiny was like, we changed a lot. Like, what did that actually look like?
Yeah, it was a big like, damn, we suck a lot more than we should.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Everyone
hard
was
truth.
pretty depressed about split 1, so
Yeah.
definitely really motivated to not have a repeating result.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thank you for joining us, and
thank you very much.
We'll catch you later.
The brutal honesty. We suck a lot more than we should.
I mean, sometimes you just got to say that. Also,
yeah.
Felix was sprinted out. I've never seen a coach.
Yeah,
one-shot a
he's
got
things
got
to do.
places
He's
to
got
be.
games to
Yeah,
watch, comms to
Yeah.
listen to.
I should have let him go earlier.
Yeah,
I was just having a nice chat, but
Maybe they've got a 4-minute 50, 4-minute 30 like set play, and he's running back. He's got to hear the setup for it.
yeah.
Keep our eye out. We'll
All
let
right.
you know.
Yeah, we'll time it.
It's got 1 minute and 20 seconds left. But yeah, start of this game, standard stuff happening for the most part. You can see Fantix alluded to Vladimir versus Cho'Gath. He just wants to sit back, farm up, do Vladimir things, and the onus is on the Cho to make stuff happen. Given the amount of AoE he has early, Shock certainly has much easier time pushing in the wave, and that is exactly what you expect.
Yeah, I'm actually very interested in this mid-lane matchup, right? Because obviously Fantix saying prepared for it, but didn't reveal like the whole picture.
Yeah.
But I mean, in theory, like, better push, execute powers definitely over to the Cho'Gath. There's actual like ability to kill a Vladimir in lane, which not a lot of picks have at all, because Vladimir has insane sustain, great ability just to run the heck out of there, and movement speed, right? So it's just so difficult to kill Vladimir.
Yeah, which is also kind of like Cho'Gath's ability to have kill threat onto the Vlad, but also really shouldn't have any kill threat onto himself, right? Because he just very easily itemizes against him, just stacks a bunch of health, and as the Vladimir, you do really just have to run at the Cho'Gath, and then you're always going to be in the WDR range if you do look for that kill threat. So kind of has two unique things going into the matchup. This is very early roam from the bottom lane. Aladoric heading up top side, and in a composition with a Jace, you kind of expect that. Taking a look at the other side of the map, down bottom, taking a look at summoner choices, Comet, Airy there, or Comet for the Yuumi rather, and a Predator in the hands of the Pyke, which is not something we've seen yet on the OPL stage. Normally goes for some different choices, but
I mean, it certainly makes
to
sense.
zoom around, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, so often we'll see mobility boots anyway.
Yeah.
And we're actually seeing Aladoric just walk back to the lane, take a bunch of damage, but this could be combined with mobility boots. He could even have the flexibility not to go for mobility boots. We see a trade on the top side. Chippies has to flash away from this one. Yeah, he was basically just caught recalling on the ward.
Very nicely timed knock back into Flash, but certainly a mistake nonetheless, and gets heavily punished there by Fudge. So good trade on the top side from Mammoth. And yeah, going back to Champion Select, we were looking at the matchup, and it's like Pyke will struggle to find ways to leave in this lane, right?
Yeah.
So getting earlier access to movement speed in the Predator certainly makes a lot of sense. That's exactly what we're going to see. Also, King actually started off with the Cull, so he's happy just farming out this bottom lane as much as possible. Dragon going to go over, small contest, but no real commit there from AV.
Yeah, really just seeing what's up more than anything else. Was just a Cloud Dragon in the end. And yeah, clearing up those wards in the river on top of that.
I wonder what Destiny just timed. Because he walked out of the Dragon Pit, and yeah, was very obviously like typing something in his keyboard. And I'm really curious, like as a support player, like
Dragon in 5 minutes, boys.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm like that's just in the game now. Ooh.
Oh, King taking a bunch of downs. Ignite goes down as well, looking for this kill. Gunkrab actually still trading off against him as Gunkrab is still just wailing on King. I mean, I guess knew his limits right there, but now he's literally a Mystic shot from dead.
Yeah, but Miru coming down as well. Tri-Bush pinked, will spot out the jungler, and you can see the sustain there. Potion ticking for Sivir and Yuumi pressing the E button. Do they commit to this one? Spell Shield now down.
Bone Skewer doesn't hit, and the minion wave's gone. I feel like that was the dive potential if they wanted it, but Sivir, even very early on, ricochets clear out minion waves very quickly.
Yes. Spell shielded the hook, absolutely fine. Has TP, so they're going to go back, buy themselves some items, and then TP back to the lane, not really losing anything in terms of CS or experience underneath that turret. Very nicely played there from the Mammoth bottom lane.
It's actually interesting to me. What skill would you max on Cho'Gath if you were versing Vladimir?
I suppose, like, I wanted to say W, but like, do you need the E?
Yeah. So that's what I thought, right? Like, I would usually max the Scream because it's just unavoidable harasser basically in lane. He's actually maxed Rupture. 3 points in Rupture.
Okay, which is
neither
the most,
E nor W.
yeah, the most surprising option. Because I would expect, like, you either just put points in E, like extra sustain, and you just like auto-attack the wave down, and you just play for priority, right? Sit him underneath the turret, but then if you're playing for priority against a mid-lane Vladimir, like, if that's all you have, it's probably not enough.
Yeah.
So going extra points in Q.
And I'm wondering if it's like, there's 2 reasons, right? Like, as we just take a look at this gank from Niru, but I feel like Fudge just has a sneaking suspicion something's up. Just the way that Chippies is playing right now. Yeah, he's playing behind his caster creeps.
Ward is up in about 15 seconds. Chippies look for the slow. Fudge turning around.
Miru's still going to go for it, and Fern changes on. Gets the knock-up, though, into the brush. Forces the flash, and the flash after by Miru into the bite, and first blood, courtesy of Void Rush.
Yes, and a gank-only Rek'Sai can execute. Tunnels through the fat wall. Flash burn as well, and AV picking that one up with ease. 1,000 gold lead now in the hands of the top side of the map, and that's a CS discrepancy that's only going to get bigger. This wave is not TP-able to by the Aatrox, so we'll lose almost the entirety of it to that turret, and that's already a 20 CS lead before this one is taken off the map. Mabib's going to be able to clean it up for himself, but certainly not a good situation laning against the Jace up there.
Yeah, it feels bad. I mean, Fudge definitely had the number on that on the gank, had the read, but it was just like, surely he didn't wait here for 25 seconds. I'm going to go in. And it wasn't even a hard commit either, so still well played to Mira and Chips for making that gank happen.
And it's a consequence of some of the hidden things in pro play, right? Like I mentioned Destiny timing something as he walked out of the Dragon Pit. That could have very easily been a very nice timed like ward on top side. They know when he placed it, they knew the cooldown wasn't quite up. And I mentioned before the gank came through, had about 10-15 seconds before the trinket would be there for the Aatrox, and they use their window, they stick around. Very easy to execute. It cost them a single flash, but getting ahead in the early game on a Rek'Sai with Hail of Blades and a Jace lane. Certainly worthwhile using the buttons for.
That's a fast Pyke. I believe that was Predator Pop. Oh no.
No, just Mobies.
That's just Mobies.
W move, speed boost.
Yeah, W Mobies.
Ooh, gets the Yuumi.
Finds the hook, gets the undertow. Gunkrab following through the ultimate. Destiny low has to attach.
Oh.
King turning around though. Alodoric low. He flashes in retreat. Gunkrab, yeah, looking to walk this one off. Also takes just another tracking projectile.
And just so close to being a death on either side. The stun from Pyke actually cancelled Yumi's reattachment there and had to wait for the rest of that cooldown to come through. Alodoric bites off a little bit more than he can chew though. Gets punished off the back end, loses his flash. But those opportunities, certainly a few and far between. Destiny caught way too far from the Sivir and things getting antsy down there on the bottom side of Summoner's Rift.
Yeah, I'm just watching Cho'Gath and just looking what his trade pattern is. Because the only thing I can think of with Q is it does do more damage than W. So you can one-shot the wave
he
faster.
one hits the backline.
Yeah.
This is a game.
Instant flash away. And Babip says, okay, you can take this one.
Maybe it has something to do with the Glacial. Right? Because this assumes he's going to go towards something like the GLP, towards the Spooky Ghost.
Yeah.
And then he's going to be a much squishier variant of a mid lane Cho'Gath, like not the Rod of Ages into like Abyssal stack of old, and he's going to be like a frontliner with Miru and something like that. He's looking much more for the one-shot potential, so yeah, he goes for Q max, does more damage, you build earlier AP rather than health and mana. And
Be almost used as like a poke catch tool.
yeah, like it's just pick potential. You land a knock up, like you will always be able to one-hit them. You have double execute with the Pyke and the Cho'Gath, so it really doesn't matter who presses buttons when. It's like if CC lands, Alodoric and Shock commit immediately. And yeah, that's one way to get a pick very quickly. Round 2.
Yeah, just rinse and repeat. Destiny also joined this one as well. And I mean, Shock, no real way out of this one. Turns around, just chucks out a Rupture for good measure. But yeah, nice repeat gank into the mid lane. I mean, that's exactly what you want to see. You knock down the flash and you just come back.
Yeah, they use the combo. Cat on the Scorpion. Speeds him into mid lane, didn't actually have to use the Impale there from Babip, so you look at Skarners, you look at junglers like this on their first big ulti, you want to make something happen. They got value from that without having to expend the cooldown. Now looking at the Rift Herald, but as I mentioned before, Alodoric is incredibly quick, so just zooms up towards topside and they do dissuade Mammoth.
Yeah, looks like that attempt is going to fizzle here. Going to have Executioner's Calling actually in the top lane here by Chippies. Still playing into the Aatrox, about 3 waves ahead still. Basically keeping this advantage. Yeah, this is actually just so sad looking at the item builds for the Aatrox. Doesn't have phase yet, just sat on the Kindle gem by itself.
And it's also not one of those times where Chippies has invested too much as well, because it will be useful versus the Vladimir, but this
is just a straight up engage right here. Yuumi also comes across Alodoric backing away from this one. Shot's already there, but Miru doesn't seem like he's on the same core the rest of the team. He walks in, everybody else rushing to get away. Fudge finds the CC. That was a great combo. Q2 into chains. 3 kills there from Mammoth.
Yeah, this Cho'Gath very quickly goes from 0-0 to 0-2. Shock caught out in no man's land. Very squishy with this build and no flash available, so AV step up. They want to start the Rift Herald, but Mammoth
wow,
still
and they
stick
managed
around.
to still get the Herald. I believe it was like 2.5k after that, so it was probably just an eye hit and a collect. Brutal. AV just unleashing the Herald for them. Lose 3 kills. Top tower going to go down. And what was basically a terrible top lane for the Aatrox picks up 2 kills. Tower's dead.
And this is what happened versus AV yesterday. Tally was a 0-2 Aatrox out of lane. Chippies had done work up there with Miro, and then he gets a triple kill in a team fight, and then is disastrous from that point onwards. So this is a little bit of a repeat of yesterday. And yeah, you mentioned it. This early game was tracking well, right? Like they had some early access to ganks, but they forced this major play. They just get very, very quickly punished. You see Shock desperately tries to eat someone just to do some damage for this fight, but execute range is way too far away, so Alodoric isn't that useful. Chippies is desperately trying to live, but you can see the bottom lane. There's no way Gunkrab is joining, right? His TP wasn't actually off cooldown, I believe. Must have used it to get back to lane, so either it's miscommunication between the AD carry and the rest of the team, or just they somehow found themselves in a position where they had to turn for the fight when they didn't really want to. Maybe Mammoth just a little bit too aggressive around the Rift Herald pit for them, and yeah, certainly got punished.
It just didn't feel like the setup they wanted at all, right? Like they never want to be like collapsed onto with competition. Like we were just talking about like the Cho'Gath and the setup you want with that. Actually has just picked up the Super Soaker as well. You know, they want to be moving into a team, into a situation, but yeah, just kind of caught out, and it was really just on the decision just to go for Herald after Mammoth for taking it.
Which is the curious thing, right? Like think about the theory behind this composition. Jace You want to just isolate the top lane and let him do his thing. And I was mentioning the Executioners isn't just a greedy, I want to win this lane harder. It will be effective no matter which side lane he gets into. And Jace very rarely explodes the game in laning phase. That's actually fairly uncommon. I'll hold this thought.
Pyke is very
Hook
fast,
lands.
catches the bone skewer, actually pulls them out of the shock blast, which would have been the kill. Secure actually flash after, Gunkrab not enough damage. And yeah, just miscommunication on the spell being thrown. Miru under attack though,
Babip
and
gets
Babip
him.
finds him with the Impale. Triple behind him as well. Chippy's following up with the damage, but now Triple under attack, and Destiny wants to get in range to try and help out his ally. Attaches,
Touches here.
but he's knocked out by the Cho'Gath Q. Shock brought back into Fudge. It's going to be another kill. This one going over to Destiny. Gunkrab jumping over the wall. Actually, Jinx only just back into Fudge.
What is going on?
I don't know, they just juked each other 3 times. Fudge finds him with Q1, should be able to follow up and finally get this kill. There's an ace at 15 minutes from Mammoth.
And we have to take another look at that fight there. AV forcing yet again and get absolutely demolished off the backside. They started it off with a pick onto King. They almost took him down, used all their buttons, but flanks were always there. Mammoth, they just turned this one around, smacked them back, and a gold lead approaching the 5,000 mark out of absolutely nowhere.
Just looking kind of disconnected right now from AV, to be honest. Let's take a look at this one
This
again.
is the beginning. Very nice timing of the Ezreal Q to land that skewer. Chippies doesn't expect it to hit, so EQ combo goes into nothing. Gunkrab gets baited by the heal of Destiny, who keeps his AD carry alive, but this is the start of the rest of this fight. Mammoth commit over the wall. You see Fudge is still walking from top side. That was not a reset there for the Pyke. Unfortunately, didn't have the execute range. Flashes after triple, but still out of range. And they're just caught out in no man's land. They've used so many buttons. Pyke is looking for resets. Jace has nothing left. And this is just funny. Because Fudge is like, oh, I predicted wrong. He went over here. Let me account for that with the dash. And then Gunkrab just goes flying back into the waiting arms of the Aatrox. That has to go. Like, you know what I mean? That's like like top 5 hilarious moments in OPL Pro Play, like montage version. Just
legitimate, just montage.
Oh,
AV still hunting though. Aladoric now caught out. Yuumi ultimate comes across. Miru gets the knockup, but again, he's just away from the team. Void Rush is in even deeper. Wants to get this kill onto King, but the exhaust is down. He's finished off. And Fudge is just chasing Aladoric down. Gets the catch, but Aladoric with the juke. Here comes Babip. It's a fast Skarner, but we're trying to get in range right now. Projectile doesn't quite tag onto, and Shock is here to pretty much collect. So it's a 1-for-1 trade overall. Bottom lane, no, 1 versus 1 triple. Looking back towards the Hemo play. Not going to be enough damage in the end.
yeah, across the map there, Mammoth just chasing AV out of their lanes. Triple gets a nice burst and is able to push this one in. Aladoric had some fancy feet there to get himself out of that one. Ulti to close a bit of the gap and then dash to get himself to safety. We were talking about the Cho'Gath build earlier, now has completed the Glacial 2-item spike. So when you take a look at AV's composition, if they're ever chasing Mammoth away, they're going nowhere, right? Like Pyke has spammable hook back. Ezreal has a spammable slow now with a Frozen Fist. They have Super Soaker, they have Spooky Ghosts, they have a speed up with the Jace. They have so many chase tools that can get themselves picks. But that hasn't been what's happening this game, right? They just commit that little bit too far, and Mammoth turn around and just hit their team fight button. Sivir charges everybody in. Vladimir gets onto the backline. Fudge has cleaned up multiple kills off the back end, and it does just look to be that AV are being slightly too proactive with their buttons, and here's another punish in the top side.
Yeah, case in point, really. Aladoric just hunting for a bone skewer right into the face of 4 members from Mammoth.
Yep.
And yet another kill. 11 to 4 right now, and that's what, a 6k advantage at 18 minutes, and it feels like most of this has been counter engages from Mammoth collecting.
Yeah, it's really been punishes
engages,
more than anything else,
punishes,
right?
exactly.
Which have been swift. Like, Babip has been flash impaling people to lock down kills. It's not like Mammoth are just being spoof-fed kills. They certainly have worked for them, but every time they see AV slightly out of position, they get punished. Of course, Pyke changes a while ago, right? He can't actually go for the tanky build anymore, just gets much more value out of building straight damage, the lethality items, give him move speed, give him the utility that he wants, but if you ever do misstep, you have a little bit of freedom, given that you have invisibility, you're very quick and you have the dash, but face check a Skarner. So it's rough territory to get out of that one, and very easy target to be picked on.
I guess it's like at what point do we start having a conversation of what's happening to AV, right? Because like they were a top 2 team not only like 2 weeks ago, right? And then it's been 1-1, 1-1. Yes, they lost the game. If they lose this one, it would be a 0-2 week.
Yeah.
Like this is the slow and steady decline of AV. And we're seeing it in the gameplay as well. Shock though, taking down the tower. Triple man collapse onto Fudge in the bottom lane. In comes the rest of Mammoth though. They've lost their top laner, but everybody is joining the party. Babip gets his first kill alongside Triple. Chippies though,
TP.
being zoned out, trying to kill the Cho'Gath, takes him down in time. And the rest of AV pretty much scatter away from this player, 2 for 1.
They get extra punish. That's a nice play. Shadowing a side lane with a pike and they get themselves the kill. But you see Mammoth once again just super quick with the response. Shock gets doubly punished because he tried to TP away. Oh,
Babip managed to find him on the suppress. Miru trying to get over this wall. He just wants to tunnel over. Flashes instead. Blocks the projectile. But here come the ricochets. They'll take the top laner instead. Gunkrab jumps the wall. He's carrying the ricochet. Miru somehow managed to survive.
Yeah, and to harp onto that conversation a little bit further, right? In the game yesterday, it was Chippies getting caught and the rest of the team was being punished for it. His scoreline wasn't feeling the burden.
On the Camille, right?
Yeah, like this seems to be like a similar sort of situation. Somebody gets caught, everybody else piles on, and then they die too. Chippies blocks the Prowling projectile that would have taken down his ally, and then he just gets cleaned up. A very nice flash auto and auto reset from the Sivir is able to clean that one up. So, yeah, you mentioned it. It is a conversation to be had. AV certainly struggling. They won actually a reasonable portion of their games with their substitute roster at the start of the split, right?
That's true.
It was Sybil, it was Isles on this, and then the main roster comes back together. Certainly struggling to find their footing. They have only lost to good teams. We were talking yesterday about like the top 6. They haven't lost to anyone below them. It's double Bombers games, an Order, and a Chiefs.
It feels like I'm just having deja vu right now here, Legion. Aladoric getting caught out once again in the same place in the river. This time just takes a little bit longer. But it's just the same situation.
Yeah, Shock. No flash. Is stunned.
Gets the stun. Rupture follows, but I mean the root from Yuumi is just too much. Shock gets put down once again. This is not a tank Cho'Gath, and he's not been stacking because he's been mostly dead.
Yep. And yeah, that's 2 dead. That's going to be a Baron start. They don't have a pink ward in the pit, so Miru realistically can have potential at a steal. He is level 12 to level 11 of Babip, so does have that disadvantage. Triple is looking.
Fudge over the wall, catches Miru. Are we looking for a retreat here to get the chains on? But Chippies basically just knocks his target back over the wall, just doesn't want to deal with it because would have died. Fudge pretty much by himself. Yuumi linked on. We'll be able to just zone this entire team. Pops the wall, Gunkrab. See what we can find. King actually under attack. Oh, gets the shutdown over the wall.
Okay.
That was nice.
Yeah, super valuable. You can see Cheeky's smile on his face. Certainly not a situation you want to be with, but still 4 Barons. They have about an 8,000 gold lead here, so Mammoth in a commanding position. It's just been really like how quickly this game sped up.
Yeah.
Early game was relatively even until a couple of kills go over, and then it really just has been pick after pick. Somebody gets caught out and everybody else piling onwards, and now you have a death cap 2nd item from a Vladimir. 3 items very early completed. It is only 22, almost 23 minutes here, and a crit 80 carry is absolutely online with the extra use of a Yuumi with Ardent, so...
I was just watching that Skarner come down from the jungle like a missile, who moved so quickly with Yuumi and also the Predator buff. But yeah, will be the disengage here by AV. But as fun as it is to say, it feels like it's not been that much proactivity from Mammoth. It was after they gained the advantage, and it was like, okay, we can take more from this. But Mammoth were just playing the Mammoth game, which is slow and steady, gets those team fights, and they're like, okay, I guess we'll take these fights if you come to us. And just AV kind of fed them gold.
Yeah, they're just playing the comp, right? Triple on the Vlad needs time. Sivir needs time. Yes, she has priority, but she certainly doesn't want to be fighting early, so they have... King.
You hate to see it.
He died at Baron. He stopped watching in mid lane. Come on, bro. That's actually, like, it's a meme, right? But also, that's super impactful.
Oh, yeah.
Double execute, Cho'Gath Pike. That is,
Miru, once again, just walks into the bot lane, looks at Skarner, gets impaled, immediately dies. And Fudge, from someone who had a bad laning phase, you wouldn't know it. 3, 2, and 6. Double items at 24 minutes. Expensive ones at that.
Yeah. And knocking on the door of the inhib, that is not going to be the rip back onto the Cho'Gath, but very difficult to defend. Gunkrab is realistically the only one that can touch a wave. Everybody else merely is range here from AV trying to defend this one. Hook gets cancelled by the knockup Cho'Gath.
Yeah, now it feels like, ooh, the shot that was just ricochet damage off minions.
It was, yeah, Q laid over the top.
Yeah. That's all your health.
Yeah, the thing is he will have effective health on next purchase. Going for the gargoyle, so has that like false timer of a couple of seconds of I am just the tankiest man ever.
Yeah.
Gives you also an increased execute range because your ulti just scales with how tanky you are, and will be able to go for huge bursts. But sitting 1 and 5, certainly struggling to find those bursts of damage that have been needed. AV potentially losing another turret, and it's going to be 6-2 so far this game. Gold lead ballooning, that's a flash.
Oh, triple flash again. Hemoplague's on. Is there enough damage from Miru? It's not quite, but almost a 1 combo on the jungler there. I mean, if it was the kill, it was probably the tower, so definitely worthwhile going for it. 3 minutes until Baron, 3 minutes until Dragon, and MAMMOTH are just slowly just rolling over AV, taking bottom tower, bottom inhib, middle tower. Could even just rotate to top if they just want freestanding gold right now.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised to see, like, this game is 1 fight away from ending. Because AV's ability to... As Chippy's... Look, he's just dead. Like, that's an ulti.
Babbitt found him.
Farewell, my friend.
Dead.
But AV, like, to defend, it has to be risky plays. They have to get close, and as you're seeing, like, it's just pick after pick. Gunkrab in danger.
Yeah, the fact that Ezreal can just be, like, yeah, the fact that Fudge can just run at Ezreal and it's just okay. Now he's got Destiny with him. If they can get one more pick, it's basically lights out here. King.
Nice chunk.
A lot of damage coming in from Gunkrab. The Q's are actually starting to add up here. The Mystic Shot from Ezreal. This will be second inhibitor. Aladaric pushing forwards. Seeming to find himself a bone skewer on one of these half-health targets, but nope, MAMMOTH pretty much take the objective and just back on out of there.
Yeah, single kill turns into double inhibs, and very easily able to take that one down. Yeah, surprisingly quick decline of this one. MAMMOTH in monumental lead, have crested the 1,000 or 10,000, I should say, gold mark here. Only having the double air, the ocean. There's no infernals, no mountains to speed this one up, but has been very quick nonetheless. 27 minutes is soon. 1 minute and 30 seconds on the Baron for the next big play here, and certainly looking to close this one out very soon.
It feels like a lot of games recently in the OPL have just been like 30 minutes on the dot.
Yeah.
And
It's like second Baron, and then like that's it.
Game's over. And yeah, MAMMOTH in a pretty good position, one might say. 4 full items from the AD carry. Looking for a similar spot in the mid lane. Has Medjai's actually.
Yeah. You know who's really feeling the pain? Is
All
Aladaric.
of AV.
He has a single item, because like supports and junglers, they get very often, unless one person is just booming the game, the most exacerbated leads, because you just don't get anything once you fall behind. Yumi's sitting on 3 full completed items as a support. And in a competitive game of League of Legends, that just rarely happens as a support, full stop. And he's just zooming.
Yeah, looking for a pick onto Fudge, but just not enough damage to finish the Aatrox in time. Catches Miro outside the Void Rush, and then the rest of the team just falls over like dominoes. Shock flashes the wall. Fudge is chasing, jumps the wall, has to slow down, dodges out the Rupture. Shock getting beneath the turret, but nothing's going to save him from Fudge's onslaught. In comes triple as well. Once part of the fun. And now it's just Aladaric versus the world. Goes down with the ship. And a big crit for 800 damage coming out of that Vladimir. And a 5-0. Not even close in that final fight, if you can call it that. And MAMMOTH, 28 minutes. Completely dismantle AV.
Triple hit him with a dab in the player cam as well to finish that one off. But a very, very dominant victory here from the MAMMOTH lineup. Still maintaining that first position, now out and out by a couple of points, right? Chiefs lost yesterday, AV now still sitting only on 7, so a 2 and 3 point lead respectively.
Yeah.
For a team that certainly struggled at the beginning of last split. A lot of the questions toward Fantix have been about that, like what has been the changes. Well, they've been very successful because now have that berth over the rest of the teams in the OPL. Absolute top dogs.
Waste no time. Fantix wasted no time running out of this room. Wasted
You had
no
to get
time
back
just...
before the game ended.
Yeah, right. It was not enough time. Yeah, I mean, honestly, just good game by MAMMOTH, right? Like, there's not a lot you can say other than like they collected really well on those opportunities that were handed to them. The penta dab coming out here as well.
That's disgusting.
That's gross.
But yeah, like,
but yeah, I mean, they
ironically,
deserve it. Great game.
ironically, it's one of those games where that was such a dominant victory, and I felt like a lot of the game, you're just looking at AV. Like, what is happening? It's not that like Mammoth didn't do well.
Yeah.
It's just that like
The
it was about
focus
the
was on
punish. It was
AV, yeah.
all about like somebody missteps, immediately take that, and they get a little bit more. They were just playing very standard, very good, cohesive League of Legends, and then AV just never found their composition coming online. You saw what it was at a Champ Select. They want double execute of Shock and Aladoric on the Pike and the Cho'Gath, respectively, and then I don't even think they got one, right? Like, I don't think Cho'Gath ate a single person that game. And when your comp doesn't come online, like, that's just a landslide. That's what happens. You fall behind versus a team fight comp. They force team fights and you die.
Yeah, and if I'm just taking a shot in the dark, it kind of just looks like a lot of this is happening from top lane. If I'm just literally taking today and yesterday, right? And like in the disconnect between, I'm not talking about laning phase, but I'm talking about like how Chippy's interacts with the rest of the map later into the game.
Yeah, because it was like his laning phase was good early, and then like the Rift Herald play happens, and then Aatrox is online, and it's like, damn, this sucks. Like, I can't go on a side lane. I lose to Triple, I lose to Aatrox, and like I don't have anywhere to go. The map fell apart. One player we do have to highlight, Babip, I think on the Skarner. Like, he was at the front lines every single time, like, throughout that fight. Like, somebody missteps. We saw multiple times, like, the flash and pale onto priority targets. Like, super impressive there. And, yeah, Mammoth just, like, across the board. That was just good League of Legends.
Yeah, he was just good League of Legends. That's going to do it from us. We're going to send it over to Nick with the player interview.
Thank you very much. And yes, I do have Babip here. Mate, congratulations.
Thank you.
You feeling good?
I am feeling good, actually.
I mean, you're known more for your carry-style junglers. You lock in the Skarner.
Yep.
Is this just flexing jungle muscle to show off, or is there some sort of deeper strategy?
Well, I always had the Skarner ready for any Rek'Sai players. If they want to blind Rek'Sai, I think it's a pretty good matchup. And yeah, I just don't mess around on that plucker. So, yep.
At the point when you realize that AV aren't playing to the potential that they have, how, as a team, did you shift the dynamic? Because you were all over that map, and as Bryce said, you were like at the front lines basically in every fight.
So sorry, what was the question?
So when you realize that AV are sort of like not capitalizing on they've got a comp that, you know, can necessarily take down Vlad or something, but they're not actually able to execute. Does that change the way that you're starting to play then, and you are, you know, moving forward more aggressively or something? Or
well, we know that AV are a team that does some like off meta picks, or they have different sort of like things prepared for I don't know, week by week they have different things prepared. So yeah, we did think that they were gonna do something a bit strange, and that was a team comp to counter Vlad, because we prioritized Vlad last week pretty highly. So not really. We just sort of
you're just rolling with what you had.
yeah, we were just going through like the flow of it. So,
and you guys, like Bryce said, you're sort of playing strong, decent, good league at the moment. We're seeing you on the couch, Mammoth on the couch, now 2 weeks in a row. You're stacking up these victories. Are you guys feeling that gel happening more and more each week?
I think we're a lot more confident on stage as opposed to last split. I think that we're able to translate practice to stage a lot more now, and just the stigma of losing on stage has sort of disappeared for us now. So just overall, we're just feeling a lot more confident on stage. Yep.
Beautiful. And then finally, speaking of stages, MEO, hopefully you're going to be there. It would be very exciting.
Yes, I do want my revenge on that stage since last year. Yeah.
And if you were to be there, what sort of segment would you like to see on the couch in between games? What to get you jazzed for the next one?
Oh, I'm not sure. Maybe like, I don't know, just something funny, I guess.
All right.
Something that will get viewers entertained.
We'll just try to find something
just the usual,
funny.
I guess.
Just some stand-up.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Jake's going to do some stand-up comedy at MEO. Lock it in. We'll be back right after this break.
Straight up engage right here. Yuumi also comes across. Aldrich backing away from this one. Shot's already there, but Miru Doesn't seem like he's on the same core the rest of the team. He walks in, everybody else rushing to get away. Fudge finds the CC. That was a great combo. A miscommunication on the spell being thrown. Miru under attack though, and Babbitt finds him with the Impale. Triple behind him as well. Chippy's following up with the damage, but now Triple under attack, and Destiny wants to get in range to try and help out his ally. Attaches, but he's knocked out by Cho'Gath. Shock brought back into Fudge. It's going to be another kill.
And he's just zooming.
Yeah, looking for a pick onto Fudge, but just not enough damage to finish the Aatrox in time. Catches Miro outside the Void Rush, and then the rest of the team just falls over like dominoes. Shock flashes the wall. Fudge is chasing, jumps the wall, has to slow down, dodges out the Rupture. Shock getting beneath the turret, but nothing's going to save him from Fudge's onslaught. In comes Triple as well. And a 5-0, not even close in that final fight, if you can call it that. And Mammoth, 28 minutes. Complete dismantle AV.
Triple hit him with a
At Macca's, our burgers are now hotter, juicier, and tastier, with onions added at the grill for more flavour, perfectly melted cheese, and softer buns. They're the best Macca's burgers ever.
Welcome back to my solo camera. Thank you very much. A bit of a rough one there from AV.
Yep.
And that's the analysis. No.
No, really strange week, because I was saying to Rusty upstairs, and we've had weeks like this as well. You don't know whether this is like signs of things to come and like this is a form slump,
Yep.
or whether this is just like players just having like an upset weekend that is never going to happen again, and you can put no weight on.
Yeah.
Because Avant are one of those teams that like they always seem like up and jovial, and as I said, like going into the room, they were in pretty good spirits from what I could see.
Yeah.
So this is one of those games that is either like a very bad foreboding game or like just completely random, and like I guess Monday's scrims will tell, but that's a very strange game from Avant. And I'll say why, right? Because they have very good agency in top and mid, which is a good recipe for an Avant win. They have a better early game jungle, which is a good recipe for Avant win. And then they generated the fights that they wanted to generate. So all of this is leading to like a good Avant like 15-minute snowball. And then the execution, sorry Rusty, was terrible.
I said it
was
as
like
well.
absolutely terrible. So it was just a confusing game. And then Mammoth are that team that just absorb all the pressure, throw it back at you tenfold, and that's what happened this game.
All right, and then as a team, what do you do, over the next couple of days to bounce back from this? As Jake said, where you go, is it something, more ingrained, or was it just a bad weekend?
I mean, you take Sunday off, you'd reset
Good choice.
as best you can, right? And come in Monday to, basically, for me, it's more like a form check now, right? Like, if we come in on Monday and we can't win a game and it seems like it's all mechanical, then shit's just gone haywire and we need to solve it immediately, right?
Yeah.
But if we come in on Monday and it's business as usual and it was just a bad week, then what can you do? Just forget it happened and move on,
And
right?
also, you got a new patch incoming as well, so
Yeah, true.
everything can change there as
Because
well.
this is the thing about BO1. You got to remember that so many games